Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan bil lisani yafqahu qawli wa ba'd. Okay, so let us first start with Al-Fatiha for lofty intentions and for acceptance of gathering, and also for request of continuation and sincerity, inshallah. Al-Fatiha. Okay, so alhamdulillah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a gaze that transforms, a gaze that allows us to gain in proximity to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah, we've been having some discussions with regards to and I've plastered it all over my WhatsApp, but essentially I've just been thinking about kind of, our objectives in life and what we aim to achieve and what we want to kind of be successful in. One of the things that we've been thinking about is, we have all these plans of wanting to do so many things, and sometimes even the basic of things or the most obvious of things we haven't conquered yet. Of them is to actually read the Quran, at least cover to cover with understanding. And it's something that is a great task. I mean, the Quran is huge in terms of over 6,000 verses, and there's a lot to cover really. But the Quran is not like any other book in the sense that it is not linear. With a normal any other book, you have like a start and it's progressional, and the first chapter will introduce, and then the second chapter will link on from the first chapter, and so on and so on. The Quran is not ordered like that. The Quran is different. So the Quran, each surah is like its own city. Okay, so that each city has got its own, or each surah rather has got its own character, it's got its own ideas, it's got its own themes, and that's essentially how the Quran is arranged, and how each of the surahs work. So it's not linear in the sense that as we normally understand it. So the intention, inshallah ta'ala, in these sessions is to kind of go through the Quran from cover to cover with understanding. So we'll give a good basic translation of the verses, and then look to reflect on some of the meanings as well, inshallah ta'ala. So we're going to start today with Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Fatiha we've already kind of gone through in courses and other classes as well. So we're going to start with Surah Al-Baqarah. Now, Surah Al-Baqarah, the Prophet ﷺ said that everything has a sanam, has a peak. And the hadith that speak about the greatness of Surah Al-Baqarah, the fact that it's a protection, okay, it's something that should be recited within the homes. The Prophet ﷺ said, do not make your houses graveyards. And the companions asked, well, how are we going to do that, Ya Rasulullah? And he said, by not reciting Surah Al-Baqarah within them. Surah Al-Baqarah is a repellent for the shaitan, and it's a very powerful surah because we have a lot of themes and discussions within there. We have history in there, we have laws in there, a lot of laws, and it's a very interesting and packed up surah. If I was to give you the basic structure of Surah Al-Baqarah, we break it up into two halves. Okay, so we've got the first half, which is essentially about the previous nations. So in particular the Bani Israel. The Bani Israel is the largest ummah of believers. Started with Yusuf alayhi salam and his brothers, and ended with Isa alayhi salam. So you're talking lots and lots of years, and in that they had many prophets, notably Musa alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam, Sulaiman alayhi salam, all of these great prophets, Isa alayhi salam, okay, blessed the Bani Israel, okay. And so there's a large discussion with regards to their tests, their trials, their disobedience, okay. And what's very important when we look at like in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks a lot about the Bani Israel. Why does He speak a lot about the Bani Israel? Because we have to learn from history, okay. We have to learn from history. Then the second part of the or the second half of Surah Al-Baqarah speaks about the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, so we have discussion about the Qibla, we have discussions about Hajj, about Talaq, about Jihad, loads of different rulings, fasting, okay, Ramadan. So all of these things are mentioned within Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, We have the greatest verse in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayatul Kursi. Okay, so there's a lot going on. So as our intention is, we're going to take 5 to 10 verses every week and just look at the meanings and just reflect on them, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, and our sessions are not intended to be too long, but long enough for us to kind of just engage in this. Now, let us also reflect upon the endeavor itself. This is a blessed endeavor. One of the things I really think about the Quran, like studying Quran or sitting in gatherings of Quran, is personally I feel there's just no politics involved. There's no kind of like, this is going to happen or what this is going to. You're engaging in the words of Allah, and so there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than engaging in the words of Allah. And one of the things that they speak about the end of times, one of the problems that the people are going to have at the end of times is a distance with the Quran. Yeah, like severe distance with the Quran. So we ask Allah to keep us strong with the Quran, inshallah ta'ala. Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran, He says in Surah Al-Baqarah, starting off, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alif Lam Mim. Okay, Alif Lam Mim. Now, what we'll do is I'm going to go through the first 5 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. So let's go through the meaning of it first. So Alif Lam Mim just means Alif Lam Mim. It has no meaning, and we're going to go into that in a minute. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. That is the book. There is absolutely no doubt in it. Okay, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. That is the book. There is absolutely, keyword absolutely, no doubt in it. Right? Hudan lil muttaqeen. An all-encompassing guidance. Lil muttaqeen, for the people of Taqwa, which we're going to go into. So, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. That is the book. There is absolutely no doubt in it. لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Hudan lil muttaqeen, an all-encompassing guidance for the people of Taqwa. Okay. Then, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Those, so speaking about the people of Taqwa, those who believe in the unseen. يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. They believe in the unseen. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. And they establish the prayer. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. And from what we have bestowed to them, they spend. So those who believe in the unseen, those who establish the prayer, and from what we have provided to them, what we have bestowed upon them, they spend. Okay? So that's verse 3. Verse 4. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ. And those who believe in what was revealed to you. Those who believe in what was revealed to you. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ. Those who believe in what was revealed to you. وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. And those who believe وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ, and what was revealed before you. So those who believe in what was revealed to you and what was revealed min qablika, before you. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. And with the hereafter, they have full certainty. They are fully certain. So, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ. And they are those who believe in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you, and with the hereafter they are fully certain. That's verse 4. And finally verse 5. أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَى هُدًى مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. Those those are upon guidance from their Lord. Hudan min rabbihim, guidance from their Lord. Wa ulaika humul muflihun, and those are definitely successful. Wa ulaika humul muflihun, and those are definitely successful. So we have the first 5 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to say is the first verse, Alif Lam Mim. Now, Alif Lam Mim, these are just letters, yeah? Alif Lam and Mim. So Alif Lam Mim, so we have quite a few surahs in the Quran that have what are known as huruf muqatta'a, the cut off letters, where essentially they don't make a word that makes sense. It's just letters that have been put together. Okay, there are 6 surahs in the Quran that have Alif Lam Mim. Okay, Surah Baqarah, Surah Ali Imran, Surah Ankabut, Surah Rum, Surah Luqman, and Surah Sajda. These 6 have Alif Lam Mim, and there are other variations, Alif Lam Ra, Ha Mim, and so on and so forth. Okay, but there's 6 surahs that have this. Now, basically the scholars have a discussion as to what is the purpose of these. Okay, some scholars, and this is generally the safest option, is just to say, look, we don't know the meaning of this. Allah and His Messenger knows best. And you know, there's a saying that every surah has a secret, and the secret of each surah is the huruf muqatta'at, like they're unknown. It's a sir, we don't know. However, some scholars say no, they do serve somewhat of a purpose. So some will say it's the name of a surah. Okay, like for example, the Prophet said, whoever recites Alif Lam Mim Sajda, he said Alif Lam Mim Sajda at night time, then whatever, like it's something that should be recited at night. But he didn't say Surah Sajda, he said whoever recites Alif Lam Mim Sajda. So from that they extrapolate that it's the name of a surah. Some scholars say actually what it does, it's like an indicator of a start of a surah. But then you refute that by saying, well, not all surahs have got that. Okay. Some say these are names of Allah, they represent names of Allah. Alif means Allah, Lam can mean another name, etc., etc. But the most correct opinion that the majority of the scholars they concur on is that this is a challenge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those who basically reject the Quran as just being mere stories or not even from Allah. Like Allah is saying to you, Alif Lam Mim. Yeah, like you think you know. You have the arrogance to try and say this is not from Allah. Tell us what Alif Lam Mim is. Okay, it's a challenge to people. Okay, and this is essentially what the scholars say. This is what Alif Lam Mim, or all the huruf muqatta'at they relate to. Okay, then he says ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. That is the book. Now, the scholars say ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. ذَلِكَ means that book. Yeah, like that, like far away. And what that tends towards is like something when something's far away. Like if it's like, you know, that guy, you kind of say, wow, like what a great guy. Like you hold it in esteem. But also they say, what's the dua that we recite in Surah Fatiha? Ihdinas Siratal Mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. That book. So it's as if Allah is like, you know, like on one page you've got Surah Fatiha, right? Next page you've got Dhalikal Kitab, right? So it's as if Allah is saying, like, you want guidance? That book. That's the book. That's where you need the guidance. Okay? And that's affirmed by Allah then saying Hudal lil Muttaqeen, is guidance for the people of Taqwa. Yeah? So that's that, right? Another thing that's interesting is, you know, that is the book. And Allah then says, okay, so what about this book? La rayba fi. Now, one of the things that's interesting, you will note from your Qur'ans is that there's a little mark out after rayb and a little mark after fihi. Is that right? So this is very interesting here. What we translated it as is la rayba fihi, there's no doubt in it. Okay? Now the scholars say that the reason why it's 3 dots, isn't it? Yeah? The reason why they've got these 3 dots is because you can actually do waqf on any one of those points. You could either say la rayb, no doubt at all. So you could either say no doubt, fihi hudal lil muttaqin, in it is guidance for the people of taqwa, or you could stop after fihi. Yeah, la rayba fihi, there's no doubt in it, full stop. guidance for the people of taqwa. So the reason why they've got those marks there is because you can stop at any one of those points, and it has a different kind of meaning, isn't it? Right? So that's why they've got that there. Now, la rayba. Rayb, basically in Arabic, is like, something that is unsteady, something that you're troubled by, something that consumes you. And someone who really attaches to the Quran, those doubts, they're not susceptible to doubts which consume them. Okay, that's the point they're trying to make. La rayba, absolutely no doubt in it whatsoever. Okay, hudan lil muttaqin, a guidance for the people of taqwa. Okay, a guidance for the people of taqwa. Now, there's three concepts here that we need to understand. Yeah, knowledge, guidance, and taqwa. There's three different things here. Okay, so imagine, for example, you have got, let's say you've got a work due to go to, right? You know there's definitely going to be haram there. There's going to be maybe lewd clothing, haram, alcohol, whatever, right? So what does knowledge tell you? Knowledge tells you, well, there's going to be haram there. I shouldn't go there. That's what knowledge tells you. Okay. Guidance pushes your heart away from it. Guidance pushes your heart away from it. A separate thing. Taqwa makes you not go. Okay. So what is that? Knowledge is having understanding of what the actual situation is. Guidance is what the right thing is, and taqwa is the power to do the right thing. Now, how interesting all these are mentioned. Ilm, kitab, yeah, knowledge, kitab. Where do you get the knowledge from? From the book. Okay, hudan, guidance is guidance. Taqwa is taqwa. And look how beautifully this is done. What do you need first? You need knowledge, right? How can you be guided if you're ignorant? How can you be guided about something if you're ignorant of what it even is? So that's first. We have to have knowledge. Then guidance. Okay. Then you have to okay, so what's the right thing then? Okay. And then you have to have the taqwa to be able to do the right thing. Okay. Each thing are like plates that have to be balanced. Very important. Very, very important. All three. You can't have one or the other. Now, oftentimes people have knowledge, but they don't have guidance. They have lots of knowledge. They know loads of things. Okay, they could rattle so much information to you, but they're not guided. They don't know what's the right thing to do. Okay, often people might have knowledge and guidance, but they don't have the inner strength. They don't have the taqwa to be able to do the right thing. So each thing is different. Okay, each thing needs its own kind of working on. And there's ways in which you develop your knowledge, ways in which you develop your guidance, ways in which you develop your taqwa. Okay, but there's three things mentioned. Now, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taqwa basically is what? Taqwa is like, comes from wiqaya, which means to protect oneself. Okay, protect oneself from that which is bad. Right. So then Allah ta'ala describes the people of taqwa, and what we're going to see in the coming verses after this is descriptions of the people of taqwa here, the people of disbelief second, and then the people of hypocrisy. There's a long discussion about the people of hypocrisy in the next couple of pages. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to describe people of taqwa first, and it's very interesting how He's going to start the entire Quran essentially with the people of taqwa. Why? Because this should be our model. This should be our goal, right? So He then describes some of the people of taqwa. He mentions 6 characteristics of the people of taqwa. Okay, He said, "Alladina yu'minuna bil ghayb," those who believe in the unseen. Okay, this is an issue of the heart, belief in the unseen. Okay, what do you believe in? Okay, and belief is something that is understood in the brain and then actualized within the heart. Okay, so that's what you believe in. Then yuqimuna as-salah, establish the prayer, not just to pray but to establish the prayer, meaning to complete it in all of its conditions, all of its rules, and to give it as much emphasis and as much importance as it can be given, right? وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and from what we have given or what we have bestowed to them, spend. And this is about sacrificing essentially, yeah. And here there's a horizontal here, because establishment of the prayer, the sequence of this is excellent. Why? Because first thing is the issue of the heart. Okay, that needs to be in place. You don't believe in the unseen. That's essentially the crux of our religion. You don't believe in the unseen, heaven, hell, day of judgment, the throne of Allah, the grave, all of these things. You have no religion. So that is primary, fundamental. That's the first thing we have to work on. We have to know what we believe in. Then that once you've like articulated your faith, what's the most important thing? Establish the prayer. Establish the prayer. And what are believers going to be asked? First thing they're going to be asked about on the Day of Judgment: did you pray? What's the status of your prayer? Okay, and establishment of that prayer. Okay, and that's the vertical now. Okay, once you've established in your heart what is true, your vertical. What's your relationship with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala? Right now, establishment of the prayer also means like essentially praying with the community, right? Praying in jama'ah. Once you pray in jama'ah, you realize who's poor, and then وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Now it's the horizontal. So it's the vertical and then the horizontal. So now who amongst your community needs your help? So now what you've been given from your rizq, go spend it and help those people who are less fortunate than you. Alright? What's interesting here, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah doesn't say, and they يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُم, they give from their wealth. No, from what we have given to them. Because remember, it's from God, not yours. All of this money, all of this wealth that you accumulate, it's not yours. It's just a trust that's been given to you from Allah. مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُم, from what we have given. And it's really like وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَا, like from what? Like we've got so much, and we've just allotted you a small amount. Don't think you're something special. We've got the heavens and the earth are nothing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just from that, we're giving a small little dot for you. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُم, what we have given, they give that. They give that for the sake of Allah. Okay? So that's 3 characteristics: belief in the unseen, establishment of the prayer, and giving from that and spending from that which we have given to them. Then وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ, and they believe, truly believe in that which has been revealed to you. This is talking to the Prophet, right? So it's talking about the Quran. They believe in it. They 100% have conviction that this is from God. This is my guidance. This is my everything. I need something, I'll come to the Quran. Yeah? وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِن قَبْلِكَ, and what was revealed to those before you. That was revealed before you. The books that have come before. Right? Giving revelation its due right. And we hope that this is a manifestation of that. Yeah? وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ, the final one. And how interestingly, how the final is like the kind of crux, isn't it? That it is the final. Akhirah. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ, and with the hereafter, they have yaqeen. That is the final, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Now, think about man, right? Think about man, right? The first thing that he has to do is establish his faith, yeah? Believe in the unseen. That's the first thing. Then he establishes a prayer. Let's say he gets firm on that. We ask Allah for firmness in our prayer. Then he gives. Then slowly, he starts to earn money. And when he starts to earn money, then he needs to give from it, right? And then he's going to live his life. He's going to carry on living his life. Now, that living of his life is essentially going to consist of what? Getting married, having children, having a house, developing your life, etc., etc. For however many years, from the point you start working up until the point you retire. That's your life essentially, isn't it? That's where you're going to be the most productive, most effective, etc. As at that point, what does Allah Ta'ala say? That they believe in that which is revealed to you. That time that you've got from the point you start making money to the point ultimately when you stop making money, that's the point that you've got to be thinking about what's your relationship with the Quran. Like if you look at the kind of trajectory of that, and then in the end, they have yaqeen. Like وَبِالْآخِرَةِ يُوقِنُونَ, they always had sincerity. Like it's almost if you need those things: belief in the unseen, establishment of the prayer, giving of wealth, and sticking to the Quran, its principles, in order to get that certainty in the akhirah. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Now, think about this, okay? What does Allah Ta'ala say here? He says that that book, there is no doubt in it whatsoever. It's a guidance for the people of Taqwa, who have these characteristics. Now, does that mean it's not a guidance? It's not a guidance for other people then? No, it's a guidance for everyone. Everyone, even the sinner, everyone has a portion of the guidance. But who benefits the most out of it? Okay, unfortunately, we live in an age now where people are wowed by just sound bites. A nice little picture here. Wow, lovely quote. Yeah, or a really nice recitation there. Or it's just bites of just little stuff that we like. And that's what our religion has become, right? But the true people of taqwa, who are really firm in this, what for them, it's about long lasting. It's about benefit. There's a difference to be from being exposed to guidance and benefiting from it. That's the point here. And what's interesting, although I don't want to kind of impress upon the Arabic too much, but if you think about all of this, these are all present tense verbs, meaning that they are doing it and they're continually doing it. They're believing and they're continuing to believe, establishing and continuing to establish, spending and continuing to spend, and so on and so on. Right? Like, it's long term. And that's one of the things about, like, something like this, like, Allahu Alam, when we're going to finish this class, it'll probably take years. Who cares? Yeah? Keep going. Istimrar. Yeah? Allah says, Ula'ika ala hudan min rabbihim. Those people who've got those characteristics, ala hudan min rabbihim, they're upon guidance from them. Those are the people, like, hudan has now come second. And this is one of the things that you should always try and think about. When you're reading Quran, link words together. Allah has just mentioned hudan. Let's go back now. What's the connection? Ulaika ala hudan. What hudan? The hudan from the Quran. That guidance that he mentioned previously was what? That the people of taqwa, that they get from that great book. Those, Allah Ta'ala is saying that those are the people now. Okay? So the Quran is like a project. Okay? It's like a life project. It's not just, I'll read it and understand the meaning. Oh yeah, that was great. No, actually, you've got to work now. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to have those characteristics and work on them. Allah says, those are upon the guidance then. Yeah, you want that guidance? That's what you need to do. Okay? وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And those are the successful ones. Muflih, one of the root words is like a farmer. Yeah? A farmer, he tills the land. Like we were just discussing now, all these plants have come out, right? And all this fruit, the veg comes out. You've got to have patience in it. Yeah, you sow the seeds and then you just have to wait, and slowly one little green shoot comes through. And you've got to be patient, you've got to keep watering, you've got to keep doing it, you've got to constant. It's not about short term. You've got to be in it for the long term. Yeah, that's what the muflih is. The one who is really, really successful. Okay, they are the truly successful ones. And in closing, what do we deem as success? Yeah, what do we really what do we deem as success? Oftentimes we feel that success is dunya based essentially. We will judge people based on how much money they've got. But these are the real characteristics of the successful. And so many hadiths speak about on that day of judgment, on Yawm al-Akhirah, where people, you would think, where did this guy come from? He was nothing, but he was something with God. Okay, so lofty characteristics. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts this surah with. Lofty characteristics. And after all of the play and entertainment and discussion and folly, it's about lofty characteristics, lofty being. Yeah, what are you really made of? What is your true essence? Okay, this is how he starts with Al-Baqarah. We ask Allah that He makes us of the people of taqwa. We ask Allah that He keeps us strength in our faith in the unseen, in our establishment of the prayer, in our giving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and truly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the strength to really live by this, and He gives us that the certainty in Yawm al-Qiyamah, and He makes us of the successful ones. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq. One of the adabs, final point, one of the adabs that we should have with the Quran, anytime good characteristics are mentioned, we should first ask ourselves if we're on them, and if we are, then we ask Allah that He gives us continuation on that, and if not, then we ask that He gives us that. Anytime we hear words about punishment, we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for refuge from that. Every time we find, like Allah ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, we should say, look, Ya Allah, I'm of the believers. What are you saying to me? So we should have it should be like a discourse with God. Okay, so we ask Allah for tawfiq, and we ask Allah for safety and security and strength in this, inshallah, and we will continue on this bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So we're obviously going to be continuing this every week on the class on the YouTube channel. So subscribe to the channel and follow the updates, inshallah. Okay, jazakumullah khairan wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.